What's up, guys? It's your girl Shanice with Shanice's Nurtured Holistics, and I'm going live tonight to talk about Black Maternal Health Week. Tonight's topic is birth control, and I also want to talk about some outdated self-care or vaginal care methods. Why am I doing this? Because it's Black Maternal Health Week. Today is the 17th of April. It's also Herbalist Day. So if you're a fellow herbalist, happy Herbalist Day to you. If you see this beyond the 17th, I want you to celebrate yourself just the same, because you're out here doing the Lord's work and out here touching and healing and educating and doing all that positive stuff, feeding love and high vibrational light and healing to the collective. I honor you. I appreciate you. I am you. And today we celebrate you. Like I said, we're talking about Black maternal health topics all week. We started the week off talking about adolescent health and what does self-love look like in terms of the adolescent and their reproductive health. And we also talked about reproductive stage of life and what that looks like, type of conversations, how do we take care of ourselves. It's been some really stimulating conversations that I've been having over the last couple of days, and I'm gonna continue all week. Make sure you're here on Sunday. I'm gonna be collaborating with my girl Alexis of Awakened Bodies 1111. We're going to be talking about sex magic for the Scorpio full moon that's going to be taking place on Monday. So make sure you're there. That's all I got going on right now. Today's Wednesday, so I'm going to be back on tomorrow and Friday. I don't know what I'm talking about yet, but I'm sure I'm going to figure it out. And tonight's topic is really important for women who are in their reproductive years as well as adolescents. So this is a conversation that you can take away for you, as well as stimulate thought-provoking conversations in the home, as well as my goal is to stimulate you to make some changes in your own terms of health and wellness from a very educated perspective and not from fear-based. So if you're just pulling in, welcome. If you're watching it on a replay, welcome just the same. And I'm about to get right into it. Give me a second. While I sip. Like I said, effective birth control is a critical component of reproductive health, and it plays a significant role in maternal health outcomes. For Black women who often face systematic health disparities, the choice of birth control methods can have specific indications or implications for their health and well-being. Tonight I'm going to be discussing or conducting an overview. Hey Cassandra, how you doing? On the different types of birth control and their impact on maternal health. I'm also going to talk about emergency contraceptives, and I'm also going to talk about herbs, because I'm an herbalist. So yes, it's some really good topics. I'm also going to talk about some birth control mishaps, because we all know somebody. Thank you for asking. I am well. Thank you for pulling up. I feel like this is important because most of the women who follow me are at a reproductive stage in their life, and we need to talk about birth control and some outdated things. I think I want to talk about some outdated ideologies first, because I seen this real earlier on the neighborhood talk where this grandma was talking to her granddaughters about dushing. And she was like, they don't give y'all dishes no more? What y'all use to clean y'all coochies? And imagine sitting at a table full of women who ain't dushing. And I was like, this is where it started. And I had some nostalgic memories from when I was growing up, and I seen Mass and Gill in the house. And my mother never told me what it was, but I figured it out in my young adulthood. And I think all women, or most women, have tried it at least once. And if you have tried it, don't do it no more. If you're still dushing, stop doing that shit. Dushing throws off your pH balance in your vagina. More oftentimes than not, if you're dushing, your pH balance is already off and you're trying to cover it up. So there's things you can do to fix that naturally. Drink water. For starters, drink some water. Like, you should typically be drinking 8 glasses of water a day. Also, you want to increase your vitamin C intake. You need citrus in your body. You also may want to increase your vitamin D intake. Hey, Sharice. If you don't know what's going on in terms of any vitamin deficiencies, go to your primary care physician and get some blood work done. Or have your hormones checked. It can also be an indicator of an overall lowered immune system. Nobody has ever said this to you before, but I'm going to say it to you today. If there's something going on in your coochie, there's something going on in your body. Your vagina is an outlet. So it is just like your nose, your mouth, your ears. It is an outlet. And if you're not taking care of your overall wellness, your vagina's gonna let you know where you lacking. More oftentimes than not, is based on what you're putting in your body or an indication of something that your body needs. Birth control can also enhance, or it's gonna enhance your likelihood of having certain issues as well. And some of us are told if we take particular birth control methods, then it will decrease cramps, or it will stabilize our cycles, or it'll make life more bearable when you're on your cycle. And that's not necessarily the case either. What your doctors aren't telling you is that your birth control has an impact on your senses or your sensory. You might not even like your man if you wasn't on birth control, because you really can't smell them. Your birth control desensitizes your other senses, because essentially it's desensitizing or making your womb do things that it's not supposed to do naturally. So it's not just preventing pregnancy, it's also interfering with other systems in the body. But I'm going to talk a little bit about the different types of birth control, because there's a lot of different types, and there's a lot of different concerns that can be associated with the different types of birth controls that we take as Black women. And that's another thing that's not studied. more oftentimes than not, when things are offered to us, they're not offered to us based upon studies having been done on Black women. The birth control methods usually are created or offered to us after there's some mishap in the creation of something for a man, and it didn't work for them, so we get secondhand shit. Or they study the effects of what the drug does to men, and if it does something to alter estrogen or alter testosterone in an ineffective manner, then they deem it effective for women. Or things are being tested on our white counterparts and then being offered to us when genetically our bodies are built differently. While we share the same type of organs, of course, we all have cervixes and we all have wombs, we all have hormones, but our makeup is different. And so those different variables alone, combined with our different predispositions, being Black people, having other underlying health concerns that's running through our veins and our DNA, like hypertension, diabetes, heart disease, that compounded with various types of birth control definitely can have other effects on the body. Don't let you be a drinker. Don't let you be a smoker. Those are combined concerns. Let you work a highly stressful job. Let you have a highly stressful lifestyle. And the addition of cortisol is another factor. If you're not eating right, God forbid. And how many of us are eating balanced diets? How many of y'all had a vegetable today? Ate a piece of fruit? Not many. So combining those poor habits, health concerns with birth control, that can create an environment that's catastrophic to your reproductive system. Even if you want to try and have kids later. There's been women that I've worked with who have been off of birth control for a considerable period of time, and they wondering why I can't get pregnant. Because you've been on birth control for 15, 20 years, and you've been eating like shit your whole life. You don't have an environment that's conducive to creating or procreating. So these are just some things that we need to take a look at when it comes down to the things that we truly want. We need to make sure our lifestyles are in alignment with it. And I know birth control is convenient because it helps you put things on pause. But in the meantime, while you're putting things on pause in one aspect, pay attention to the other traits and characteristics of your daily routines. Hey, my love. Hey, Relly Rel. So I'm going to talk about birth control. And then I'm going to talk about this post that Iris sent to me the other day, in which it was right on time. I just didn't know how I was going to fit it into this discussion for this week, for this series. But it's all coming together. Just flow with me. There's multiple types of birth control. And they all have the same goal, which is preventing the sperm from attacking your eggs, right? But the methodology and how they work are different, okay? So there's hormonal birth control like pills, patches, and rings. And these methods release estrogen and progestin to prevent ovulation. Essentially, what it's doing is preventing your body from doing what it naturally does, so you can know if whether you're going to try and have a baby or not. Ovulation is the egg dropping to prepare for the attack. Okay? So while it's widely used, these methods can increase the risk of blood clots, and they also are a concern for Black women because you're more prone to certain health issues like hypertension and vascular disease, problems with your heart. Something that's stopping your eggs from dropping can instabilize your heart, which controls your circulation. Those two things shouldn't interfere with each other. You are a system. They need each other to work together. If you ain't ticking, the eggs ain't dropping. Okay? Progestin only type pills. And these are pills that's really offered to women who are overweight and women who are over 30. These are for women who are sensitive to estrogen. So if you got like estrogen dominance, you would be taken off your standard orthotricycline low or orthotricycline and then be put on like the low dosage. But this is safer for women, but they must be taken at the same time every day for them to be effective. They don't really affect your heart as much. But again, if you're doing other things that are already poorly affecting your heart, to hell with the birth control. Get what I'm saying? So, another type of contraceptive measure, intrauterine devices, IUDs, Mirena. There's a copper one too. Now, these are available in hormonal and non-hormonal forms. The copper one doesn't have the hormones in it. The Mirena has the hormones. And women love the Mirena because if you're on it for a specific period of time, it makes your period stop. I'm going to talk about that. Give me a second, because Iris said she hated that thing. I was on the Mirena after I had my daughter because I was not trying to have Irish twins. So I was like, we're going to close up shop. I'm going to be responsible. I'm going to be put on the Mirena. It's going to keep my cycle from coming on. I'm going to be good. Woo woo. That was a lie. I had my cycle the whole time I was on the Mirena. And before I had a child, I was on the copper one. And those were some of the worst periods I ever had in my life. Me and one of my girlfriends, we both were on the copper IUD. And the copper IUD used to tear our asses up every single month. Like, it was a running line or joke or inside joke amongst our conversations that copper tearing me up. Now, copper as a mineral is really good for people of color. It charges us up, but I don't know. I don't think it belongs on the inside of your body. You had it for years, and then the rhythm method for a good year. Listen, I done tried them all. Pills. The only thing I never did was the Depo, because I heard it make you fat, and I always had problems with my weight when I was on birth control, so I didn't want to get any thicker. But when I eventually got off the copper IUD, and I selected that reason for it specifically not having any hormones, because I didn't want to be adding extra hormones into my system, considering that I have a history of women in my maternal line who have hormonal concerns. So I kind of wanted to, exercise my right. My doctor didn't really want to give me that one. She said that's not usually something that we give to women until after they have kids. It lasts like 10 years. I didn't have it for 10 years. I wasn't going to be able to make it that long with the way that my cycles was kicking my ass every month. But I never heard of the rhythm method. Is that an IUD or is that like an implant? Because you know they got all different types of names for the same thing. They could have a generic version. I don't know. I can't keep up with it. And I haven't been on birth control in years. So, yeah. But with the IUDs, they're available in two forms. One with hormones, one non-hormonal. And they can be a good choice for women who are seeking a hands-off approach to their birth control, because with pills, you got to take them at the same time in order for them to work. And there's been many reports from Black women and women of color who have issues with intrauterine devices and them getting lost in people's bodies. No, you just log and follow your cycle rhythm. Oh, it's an app. You can have sex all month except for the week of ovulation. I'm glad you mentioned that, because we need to talk about ovulation tracking as well, because we go through all of these different measures to protect ourselves from having babies when you only ovulate one day, and if you really play it safe, you don't have sex all week. Now, my conversations are for adults and adults only, so there's a number of different ways you can discard of the male ejaculate. Y'all know what to do. Put it on your back, put it on your thigh, swallow it, put it in a condom, put it on the sheet. It don't really matter, but we doing too much in terms of these permanent measures when we really only have to protect ourselves from one event. And when you think about it, it's 31 days in a month. It's 28 days in our cycle normally, and you should track your cycle so you can know how much time is in between your cycles, start dates, and in the middle, somewhere in the middle between there is when you ovulate, and there's apps for it now. You could use a calendar. There's so many ways that we can track this thing that we don't have to take birth control. I know our grandmothers didn't have birth control, and it seemed like they had babies every time they had sex. And we're afraid of that because the economy is doing its thing, and it's not really appearing to work in our favor. But these things that we're doing are deteriorating our bodies. I use the Flow app too. I use the Flow app. And I'm celibate, so I don't really even be tracking my periods like that. I know it's coming, is what I mean. Like, I don't have nothing to worry about. That's the Flow app right now telling me to drink some water. Like, it's coming. I don't have nothing to worry about. And if I'm ever feeling any type of symptoms of pregnancy, I know that there's somebody around me, very close to me, that is. So, yeah. But we're going to get back to these birth control methods. There's implants. And implants are usually implanted under the skin and the arm. And these release progestin, and they last for several years. These are really good for people who are looking for something on the go, that they don't have to worry about time. They don't have to think. They just do it. My only concern with progestin is this is really going to be something that's offered to women who have estrogen dominance. You're older, you're going to have to be conscious of this if you're overweight. And yeah, you should be in make sure I don't want to say you got to be in stellar health to be on birth control, but you just want to exercise your options and have conversations with your OB regarding what you're dealing with, what your circumstances are, in comparison or juxtaposing it with the methods that's being offered to you. So do be honest. Hey sis, do be honest with your practitioner so they can make the right type of recommendations for you, because anything that you're fearful of sharing with your practitioner could definitely have some effects on its effectiveness as well as your life or any other concerns. Other birth control methods, condoms. Condoms are very effective at preventing pregnancy when you're wearing them. And there's all kind of condoms. All kind of condoms. These don't have any type of negative effects on your health unless you are using a type that you're allergic to. If you're allergic to latex condoms, you better use some kind of skin condoms. Self-explanatory. It's nothing that can happen to you by using a condom unless you have an allergic reaction. Other than that, I'm gonna just move right along. There's diaphragms and cervical caps. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I've never have any type of experience with these types of birth control methods aside from I only use condoms as birth control. You smart. You smart. Because it's a lot of us playing Russian roulette. You can see people who pull-out game is weak. And you can see some people, I know people who've used different birth control methods who still ended up pregnant. So if these babies are meant to be here, they coming. It don't really matter what you do. And that's why I'm having these types of conversations, because you need to at least be educated on what you're doing. So then you at least know better. And then if something happens, you don't beat yourself up about it, because that soul is supposed to be here. But there's diaphragms and cervical caps. These need to be used with spermicide and placed in before intercourse, offering a hormonal-free choice, but it requires you being a responsible adult. I think many of us like certain birth control methods because it alleviates a level of responsibility that we don't want to be bothered with. However, you better decide if you'd rather be bothered with a human or if you want to take different precautions for your health. That's what the leverage is. Do you want a baby or do you want to be here? Because these birth control methods ain't giving what we think they're supposed to give. And a lot of women who take birth control for extended periods of time, once you hit that 30, 35 mark, your doctor should be having conversations with you about the next level of birth control. If they're not, after you watch this, you better approach them. Because you're going to be introduced to a new phase. We knocking on menopause's door right now. There's more methods of birth control. There's permanent methods like tubal ligations, which is controversial because they're irreversible in nature, and it's also closely aligned to the history of forced sterilization in the African community, as well as in the Black communities in the South when they were using us for experiments. And so you will find some stories where there's women who get their tubes tied, burnt, cut, whatever they doing, and they still end up pregnant. Those babies supposed to be here. There's also situations where women get those types of things and they don't make it. We not really I wouldn't encourage anybody to do that, but if that's a choice that you made, you prayed about it, do your thing. There's strong impacts on the Black maternal health choice. Our Black maternal health and the choices of birth control, they can significantly impact our outcomes for just Black women overall. You want to take a look at what's going on in the culture. There's historically been mistrust in the medical system amongst Black community. Fear of side effects of certain things and misinformation can also influence your birth control choice. Be responsible. This is an invitation for you to have control over your reproductive timing. That's why we love birth control, because we feel like we have autonomy over our bodies. We don't just get pregnant when we lay down with people. We love that. But while it allows you the capacity to plan your pregnancy, you want to make sure that you're healthy overall. It's essential for your healthcare providers to offer, you think you can plan. We try, we want to be in control. That's our ego. We want to control when things happen, and we really are not in control at all. We just here. Everything that's happening was already designed to happen that way. And so we just really puppets. I want to talk about emergency contraception, because people don't know that emergency contraception is only helpful within limits. If you're over, I think it's over 215 pounds, certain emergency contraceptive measures don't even work for you. They're most effective when they're taken within 72 hours. They tell you sometimes that you can take it within 5 days of the event. But they really throw your cycles off. And I have a real strong disdain for emergency contraceptive, because more oftentimes than not, if we knew our bodies and our ovulation cycle, you wouldn't even need to take it half the time. You only need to take emergency contraceptives if you have sex in that week window of ovulation, or right after your period come off. I'm going to say that because that's a thing. to get pregnant right after your period come off. Sometimes our wombs be betraying us. I know. It's a thing. I wouldn't be me if I ain't talk about herbs, because I'm an herbalist and it's herbalist day. You don't have to take birth control pills to keep you from getting pregnant, because like I said, it's really all about a 1-day occurrence that you should protect yourself for the week for safety measures. I know that there's a number of different states that don't allow for women to have autonomy over the choices that they make for their bodies. And I'm going to say it as simple as that. But what I will say is there's particular herbs that you should not take if you are pregnant. Can y'all see I winked? Okay. I know my lashes might interfere with my winkage abilities, but yeah, keep that in mind, okay? Hey, Charlene, how you doing? These herbs should not be taken during pregnancy because they are generally not safe. And I am doing great. How are you, Charlene? These herbs have the potential to complicate pregnancy, cause preterm labor, miscarriage, or adverse effects on fetal development. Some herbs you should not take if you want to have a baby are black cohosh, blue cohosh. You was sick, Charlene? You should not take dong quai. You should not take licorice root, pennyroyal, saw palmetto, St. John's wort, golden seal, yarrow, wormwood, tansy, cotton root bark. You've been in your feelings. Feel your way. Feel your way. It's time. You've been sad because you was cooking. It's bringing up memories. You should not take cotton root bark if you are pregnant or trying to maintain a pregnancy. Rue. Mugwort, if I didn't already say that. Parsley. Why did I say these list of herbs? Because these are herbs that you should not take if you want to have a baby. Because they may cause contractions, they may initiate a miscarriage or an abortion. Thank you. Thank you for tuning in to my TED Talk tonight on Black Maternal Health. We talked about birth control, its effects on Black women and our maternal health. Talked about some outdated beliefs and how we are supposed to take care of our vaginas. And I also talked about some herbs that you should not take if you want to have a baby. Do with that information what you will, because I know some states, they don't give us the right to choose what we want to do with our bodies. If you need some help on coming up with a combination of things to help you, or you need a wellness consultation, I'm your lady to come and see. I am a doula. I am a ancestral medicine practitioner. So I got you. You need help to have a baby? I can help you with that too. Tonight's conversation is concluded. You can always visit the link in my bio if you want to book a wellness consultation with me, or visit the link in my bio to purchase some high vibrational herbs so we can get you on a nice routine. I'm not going to tell you which one you need to do, but if you want to get some insight on what would be a good place for you to start, or you want something personalized, definitely connect with me. A wellness consultation costs you nothing, just you being present. It's been a pleasure. Thank you for tuning in to my talk. I will be back live in about 30 minutes so I could do some readings tonight. But this concludes my live on my Black Maternal Health topic for the date. I also want to wish my herbalists a happy herbalist day. And I'll be back in a little while to do some readings. So get your questions ready. I love you. Talk to you soon.